So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak in front of you all. So I'm an industrialist. I actually joined the university 12 years ago as an engineer. Graduated from Imperial College, so nice to see someone from Imperial here. And really enjoying the presence of academics is great, but you're an engineer and you're very pragmatic and you want to take ideas from academia into industry, and that's really my role. And sometimes it's not easy. A lot of times it's very rewarding when that happens successfully. And WMG is a great example of how that can happen. So the topic of driverless cars is a really hot topic at the moment. I'm guessing a lot of you have already seen stories in the press relating to this, good and bad. So we'll touch on some of those. And really, the way I'd like to present is just to maybe give you a high-level picture of what's going on in the world and why there's a drive for this, the opportunity from a business perspective and jobs, and the link with the conversation this evening. And then focus in a bit around what we've been doing in WMG in the university to contribute to this space. And then just look ahead a bit to see what opportunities lie and why this is a potentially a fantastic opportunity for the Midlands. So before I get into the formal presentation, I thought we could do a bit of a audience participation exercise. This question we often use to just gauge opinion around people's view of driverless cars, around trust. So if you imagine, I'm going to pose a question to you all, and I'd ask if you could raise your hand to acknowledge a positive response. Imagine there's a driverless car waiting outside, and it's going to take you home this evening. How many of you would trust the car and actually willingly go and sit in there and let it take you home? Of course, many of you live near and far. A very trusting audience. That's about 50%. That's a pretty good response. I asked this question to a group of safety experts in Germany, and all working in the area of driverless cars, all looking to see how safe driverless cars are. Could anybody hazard a guess as to how many hands went up as a percentage?
0.
Very good. 0 hands. None of the experts trust these things, which is a bit scary. So our job is to try and get people to trust these things. So we do see that there is potential benefit and huge benefit societally in introducing this technology. Over 90% of accidents actually happen, these are statistics not just from the UK but also from further out in the US and Germany, are actually caused by driver error. You know, we are probably the weakest link when it comes to safety in vehicles. In the UK, if we could introduce driverless cars and they were all safe, you know, we could save up to 2,500 lives per year, and 25,000 serious accidents could be avoided if we could control everything, which is a great motivator. In addition to that, you know, we see that if we can start to optimize the way cars are driven, which means, you know, we take the petrol heads out off the road and we actually be very efficient drivers, we can have a huge impact on energy efficiency, air quality, etc. And of course, congestion is growing anyway, and if we can optimize the way cars drive with each other, that's another impact. This statistic's quite pertinent for me. I've been here 12 years and I live in Leicester, and I've seen year on year the time I spend in my car driving increasing. It's gone from about 50 minutes to sometimes to an hour and a half. So 235 hours on average wasted behind the wheel. Waste means, you know, it's not productive for us. So given that we could sit in a car that's driving us to wherever we want and we make that productive time, that's very exciting, especially for busy people that we all are. And of course, one of the very exciting opportunities is the potential to provide independent mobility for all. So people who maybe don't have the access or the ability to drive cars anymore, and they need independent travel that doesn't rely on buses or taxis, well, this could be a real solution. So lots of positive stuff, lots of opportunity. From an economic perspective, again, these are figures taken from a number of reports. Some you can believe, some are very optimistic. But you know, if they were true, you know, we're talking about billions of pounds of opportunity just in the UK cited. So if the market really takes off by 2030, That's the size of market that we're playing into. 320,000 new jobs in and around this industry, so not just manufacturing, but everything that's in and around that topic. We mentioned Industry 4.0, and I think that's going to be a key contributor to this, to see how we extend the frame of autonomous cars to encompass new business opportunities. And the number of cars, again, predicted. We're talking about millions of cars within 10 or 15 years, maybe 20 years' time. We're looking at a substantial number of vehicles that are going to be autonomous in different scenarios. Maybe not all on the motorways. Maybe a lot of them are for specific application. But certainly there will be seeing more of these. And this survey taken in the US, again, pinch of salt possibly, but 44% of them are very happy to have a fully autonomous car, which is about the same statistic we had today. For us, it's really about taking the high value components, sit in the space where we contribute to the high value adding components. And that's the focus. So we're not focusing on the high volumes or the low value stuff, but really see where we bring in the innovation, the novelty, the state of the art to the market. And the global market, see the numbers there, 900 billion pounds is a huge space to be working. I think you trumped me with a trillion mentioned in your speech, but 900 billion is not too far away. There are challenges though, and we see certainly for manufacturing, there are challenges. You might have seen the story of the Tesla crash on the news a few months back, where the car driving in this autopilot mode was unable to see a truck and actually crashed, and there was a fatality. And so there's a challenge around making these products dependable, always safe, always secure, and we can rely on them. But the automotive world, the cars that we drive and the environments we drive in are very complex. We have a lot of complex situations with people on the road, cyclists, pets, prams, trucks, buses, complex environments where these things have to maneuver themselves around. And that's one of the biggest challenges, is how do you prove that you can still work safely and securely in all these complex situations. I mentioned about the high value components, the fact that these components are not just going to reside in cars, but they're actually going to seep into the infrastructure and associated technologies as well. And this merging of industries we also see happening, and is going to be a key point of opportunity and issue. Emergent behavior is a term given to something that something happens you hadn't anticipated or designed in. And very rarely is it good. Often something not very nice happens. It's a fault or an issue that causes problems. And emergent behaviors happen when you have systems mixing together that you haven't actually brought together before. And there are no existing state-of-the-art methods or tools that say this is the way to go and design cars that are going to be autonomous. It's all evolving, it's all new, it's all fresh. And this gives us scope for challenge and opportunity. And supply chains and new business models. Again, we see Tesla came in with this disruptive model of this huge electric car that's a luxury brand, and it's now autonomous. Everyone's thinking, the BMWs, the Jaguar Land Rovers are thinking, what do we do now? These guys have just come and taken the ground from under our feet. Uber are working to bring autonomous cars. They've really blown the taxi market wide apart. And now they're going after autonomous vehicles and autonomous fleets. Completely disruptive. Uber never been in this game before. Apple are talking about cars. Google are talking about autonomous cars. And so everyone's trying to reposition themselves. And maybe it's not the car anymore that we need to buy, but it's the service we need to buy. So is it a service model that we're moving towards? So honing in, UK. So the UK is very progressive in this space. The government's hugely supportive, investing heavily in R&D in the space of connected and autonomous vehicles, encouraging real-world trials to happen. So again, a lot in the press, if you hunt around autonomous vehicles being trialed in certain sites. So we ourselves in the Midlands have, you see on the left, the pod with the Union flag on there. Pod manufactured by RDM Group, who are based in Coventry. But these things are going to run around in Milton Keynes and Coventry in a few months' time. The Heathrow shuttle pods are going to be running around in Greenwich. And the UK really is opening up to say, you can come to our streets and you can come to our spaces and test your autonomous vehicles. So we are putting ourselves on the map firmly as a test bed. So the government is great. It's already published a code of practice that allows us to do this safely. And trials are hugely valuable. We see the importance of actually engaging real people, not just within the cars, but also externally. But there are issues with running trials with unproven technology. Of course, we need to minimize risk, create repeatable environments, look at the cost of doing this, and then really ask the question, well, how many miles do we have to drive to prove it's safe? We've seen, again, the RAND Corp talking about 3 billion miles. You have to drive 3 billion miles to get all the coverage of all the different scenarios. Well, that's not possible. So our solution, WMG, is very much around bringing technology into this space. We've developed a simulator which looks to bring the environment to the car rather than the car to the environment. So this is a 360-degree virtual environment where we can create connected environments. We can actually make the car believe it's running and so we've actually mapped Coventry. We've got Coventry scanned and mapped, and you can drive around Coventry in our facility. And that accelerates the whole process. So this whole thing about doing things earlier in simulated environments fits into this space perfectly, where we have real users and real worlds on one end and this virtual environment on the other end, and the simulator world right in the middle of it all. So we're contributing already to this space. And doing this, it just makes the opportunity occur a lot faster. So industry can engage with the likes of WMG, other universities that can provide these facilities to bring these products to market in a lot safer and a lot quicker speed as well. So what of the Midlands opportunity? Because I guess this is where we're heading to. Verification and validation is critical. We have to make sure these products are safe and secure. We have to make sure that people like them, people trust them, people accept them. Cybersecurity is going to be a bigger and bigger issue as we open up access to the vehicle and we link to infrastructure and link to other users. How do we make sure we're not going to have these what they call man-in-the-middle attacks? People are going to start accessing our data, our secure systems, and cause problems. Standards, we're already contributing to standards at an international level, and there's more to be done. New business models I've already mentioned, and again, we've got a very progressive group in the university that is looking into it. Education and skills is a massive, massive opportunity because we just don't have enough engineers in the UK to satisfy the demand, and this is a great opportunity for us to create something here. And of course, social acceptance, I've mentioned before. Excuse the map, it's not very elaborate, but it's just to point out to the fact that we have quite a large area that we're covering in the Midlands. And already, we have a lot of progressive companies, you'll see on the left, all engaged in this technology. And there's more, and so, excuse me if I've missed any out. But there's a lot of companies, in and around the Midlands that are active and engaged, and many that already we're talking to. And of course, the academic base, these are the ones that we're certainly aware of that are active in this space of connected and autonomous technologies. But there's more, and the more are going to grow. We know universities are very, very keen to engage and build this research space up. So we're involved in a number of projects. So this is one from Innovate UK and the first call. But just to finish, to say that more is coming. We are actually, we've been awarded four projects that we're consortium members in the last call. Government's invested another £55 million in a UK testbed. That's open for us all to get involved with. And Connected and Autonomous Vehicles 3, the call that's going to come out in the autumn. Who knows what that's going to hold for us. So I really believe the future is bright for us in the Midlands, and I believe that the Midlands is the future for this intelligent vehicle space. And we're really uniquely placed in this space to exploit it. Okay, thank you very much.